Your Excellency, thank you very much indeed to have you tonight in this show. I'm so happy for this opportunity. I was telling the audience how, what kind of feelings you have for Romania. But also, I was telling them about your relationship with the new president. So let's start the conversation from this point. What can you tell to our viewers about the new president, how we should know him through your eyes?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, and it is really a very exciting day for those of us who have worked with President Biden over the years, and obviously care a lot about the United States, as well as caring about Romania. He's a man of, as everybody knows, a very broad and deep experience, particularly in international relations, former chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in the Congress. When I was ambassador, I worked with him closely on all the issues related to Europe, to NATO, to the war in Kosovo, which was going on when I was ambassador, to bringing democracy to the Western Balkans, and working closely with Romania. And as you know, then back under President Obama, when President Biden was Vice President Biden, he came to Romania and worked very closely with then Ambassador Mark Gittenstein, who has been his partner in policy in the United States for about 35 years. And Ambassador Gittenstein was one of the leaders of the transition team for President Biden. And so his ties to Romania are very, very strong.
I know that he is in love with two Romanians, Ilie Năstase and Nadia Comaneci. When he came in Romania as a vice president, the government was inviting Ilie Năstase to have a meeting with the vice president. And when President Biden was looking at Ilie, he was screaming and he said, "Oh, I was your fan all my life." We have a picture from that moment. And also I know that Nadia Comaneci is also really close with the Bidens. But you said before that President Biden knows Romania, knows the region. What should we expect from President Biden, from his new administration?
Well, I think there's several things of particular significance to Romania. One is a recommitment by the United States to the NATO alliance. There are very few issues that are more important to Romania from a security point of view than the NATO alliance. And he has been a champion of the NATO alliance. He was a champion of inviting Romania to join NATO. And I know he and many of us have had concerns about NATO's strength and stability over the last several years. So I think you're going to see a recommitment to NATO. So I think that's probably number one and the most important thing for most Romanians. But I also think more generally, his understanding about Europe. He understands that Europe is the major ally of the United States in the world, that because of our shared democratic values, we have disagreements about things from time to time, but fundamentally, we're close partners. And I think re-strengthening that whole partnership with Europe will be important for Romania as well. But then finally, you mentioned two of the Romanians who he knows and likes. I can assure you he knows many more Romanians and likes many more Romanians, in addition to Ilie and Nadia, as I'm sure as much as he likes them. The main thing is he's been to Romania 4 or 5 times, which is more than most presidents of the United States have been to Romania by the time they become president or even when they are president. And so Romanians know him and he knows Romania, and that's going to be a very big deal.
What should we expect differently? President Trump didn't came to Romania, but he was inviting our president, President Iohannis, twice to the White House. We had a very good relationship during these 4 years. Of course, programs on defense, a lot of important things. What should we expect differently from this point?
Well, I think that's true. I mean, I think there were quite a number of initiatives that were continued by the Trump administration that had been begun in earlier administrations, including the George W. Bush administration, the Obama-Biden administration, frankly, Bill Clinton's administration, which I worked in. So I think there's real continuity of foreign policy of the United States towards Romania. So I don't think you'll see change in a dramatic sense of a different approach. The military alliance is important. The economic partnership is important. The shared values are important. But I think what you will see is when issues come up that are tough issues, you're just going to see a president of the United States who knows more about Romania. And therefore, in addition to the advice he'll get from whoever the new ambassador is, and I'm sure he'll choose a terrific ambassador to Romania, and whatever advice he gets from his cabinet members, he'll be able to process it in his own head based on his own experience and his own knowledge. And I think that's good for the United States, and I think that's good for Romania.
My colleague Adrian Ursu is here with us. If you have a question, Adrian.
I'm very honored to be tonight with you. We met each other many years ago when you were ambassador.
Nice to see you again.
I have the honor to have an interview with you. And I was asking two questions that I think they are, generally speaking, point of interest for Romanian audience. First of all, do you have any information why the former ambassador Zuckerman left Romania so fast, even before the inauguration ceremony of the new president elected of United States?
I don't know specifically, but it is the tradition in American diplomacy that all ambassadors, whether they are career ambassadors for the Foreign Service or non-career ambassadors, as I was, as Ambassador Zuckerman was, basically submit an undated resignation at the end of a presidential term so the incoming president can decide who he wants to be his personal representative of the country. And so it's not surprising that he stepped down and that there will be a new ambassador coming.
We hope it will be also a short procedure because we wait for almost, I think,
2 years.
1 year and a half or even 2 years to have a fully charged ambassador in the former mandate. And the second question, it's about one sad experience that the Romanian citizens have regarding this administration. It have also a name. It's Victoria Nuland, the special envoy for Eastern Europe, which was regarded as a special envoy who was involved too much in the internal politics of Romania. Do you think it's only past this kind of involvement, or there are signs that it will be different in this new Biden administration?
Well, I don't speak for the Biden administration, obviously. I think the big point is that the United States is very committed to democracy and to sovereignty. Romania is very committed to democracy and sovereignty. And I think the record of President Biden is very clear that he cares a lot about what happens in our partner countries. He cares about it economically. He cares about it in terms of protecting democracy. As all the world has seen, we had some people who were making some threats to our democracy in the United States. And so we bounced back. They stress tested American democracy, and we came through with flying colors. But Romania has had similar kinds of experiences, and most countries in the world have had those kinds of experiences. But I think the focus is going to be on protecting democracy in our country and around the world. The specifics of who's going to be involved in what, the president's only been on the job for a day. So I think those issues will be sorted out over the coming months.
And the last question is when you are planning to visit again Romania, and if you have any information, inside information maybe, about how fast it will be possible to organize a visit of President Biden into Romania.
Okay, again, that I don't know the answer to. We have to get a new ambassador to Romania, and that will take a while. Obviously, I would love for President Biden to visit once again, and certainly would encourage him to do so. For myself, it's all dependent on the virus and the vaccines in the United States, in Europe, and in Romania. We talk about political differences. The one powerful force in the world that doesn't understand political differences or borders is the virus. and which is why we need the international cooperation. And as soon as we beat the virus, I look forward to coming back and visiting Romania.
Thank you, your ambassador.
I was saying in the beginning that we are very lucky tonight to have you in this interview because you know President Biden very well. And of course, these days, like yesterday, a lot of people was watching the inauguration day, talking in terms of news channel. We've been #1 by far yesterday, broadcasting the events, and the Romanians was eager to watch the ceremony. You know very well, you know the Romanian people, they are very close with the Americans, and America is really important for us. Could you tell to our audience one memory, something that will be relevant for us to understand what kind of man is President Biden?
Well, I think the most important thing to understand about President Biden is that he is sincere. He is straightforward. When he says something, take it seriously, whether it's a compliment or sometimes a criticism. He means what he says, and he says what he means. And when he said yesterday in his speech that American democracy had shown its resilience, when he said that the United States is recommitting itself to protecting democracy around the world, he meant it. And when he said that in a democracy, we can have disagreements, and we should have disagreements. That's what democracy is about. But we have to be unified in support not only of our own countries and our own vision of our own country, but in terms of working together across national borders on things like the virus, on things like climate change. And so I think what you heard yesterday is what you would have heard from President Biden if he was talking to you one-on-one in private.
The biggest challenge for our region, in your opinion, for the next period of time is what? And the biggest challenge?
Well, frankly, I think it's the virus crisis and the economy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it very well in Romania. We know it very well here in the United States. It's a once in 100-year crisis, and it's great that the vaccines are coming on fast, but people are dying, people are suffering, people are afraid, and it's hurt the economy as well. And so I think the focus, and that certainly is President Biden's focus, both again in the United States but internationally. I mean, one of the issues is, are we going to solve this virus internationally? Because if you solve it in one place and not another place, it's going to come back. So I think that's really where the focus is and should be.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for accepting this interview. I have to tell you that I was choosing for tonight that our translator to be your former translator from the embassy. If you remember Cătălin, he is translating you tonight. So I was making sure that your words will be translated very well in Romanian.
Mulțumesc foarte mult.
Mulțumesc. Thank you very much, Ambassador.